It looks like XRP is finally in the final stage of price suppression and ready to go to the next leg higher, the next big move up. In this video, that's what I want to focus on. Now, I'm well aware that the talk of the town here today is the Ripple and SEC case, and I want to briefly touch on this. Talk to you about what the lawyers are saying, because knowing that I'm not a lawyer, nor do I pretend to be one, I wanted to talk to you about my overall thesis and opinion on this. Will it affect the price of XRP? Because let's be honest, as XRP holders, that's what we are mostly focused on. And so with that, that's what I want to focus on. Talk to you about things that we do know are about to come much sooner than many think, that will allow for price appreciation for XRP. All I ask is, if you do like talking about both Ripple and XRP, type in X in the comment section, click that like button. And if you're new to the channel and you do like talking about crypto, click that subscribe button as well. Now, Stuart Alderati, guys, who is the chief legal officer at Ripple, right, put out a very interesting post here today. And I know it's kind of circulating around, so I don't want to go too in depth with it, but was very interesting, where he said basically they have two options. They can either dismiss their appeal challenging the finding on historic, keyword historic, institutional sales, or press forward with the appeal. Using the word historic essentially meaning going forward, what he's insinuating is going forward, these sales are not going to be an issue, right? And they could pay this fine, be over and done with it here today, but it is a chunk of money. It's pocket change to Ripple, but this whole scenario runs deep and wide. Now, Fred Rispoli, who is a lawyer, trial lawyer, he's talked a lot over the years about the Ripple and SEC case. I've featured him here. Put out a very interesting post as well, a very lengthy post that I will save you of that. I'm not going to read through it, but just briefly talking about one, Judge Torres' decision here today with her denial could either, one, be politically driven, and I'm not going to get into politics on this one, but could be politically driven. He talked about how, you know, it's not always the case, but sometimes the case where judges will be politically driven by their decisions. Whether that's right or wrong, we know it's not right, but sometimes that is just the facts, and that is the case. But number two, he believes ultimately what's going to happen is they're going to pay the $50 million fines. And this situation we have right now is nothing more than words on a piece of paper and will not affect XRP. Why? Because XRP is a non-security, and that is by law, and that doesn't change here. And so again, as Stuart Alderati said, the finding on historic sales, going forward, Ripple and XRP, there will be no issues. As Stuart Alderati said months ago, this is nothing but noise. And so we get into the conversation of, will this affect the price? Well, I like to use the example of just looking back at 2024 in November, a 500 to 600% gain in a single month, while we had less clarity. That's one example. And we could use many other examples, but I want to focus on what we know is coming, and certain things and dates that came out here today that are incredibly important, not just for XRP, but the broader space that will allow for price appreciation. Now, here today didn't get enough attention. Ripple expands multi-chain interoperability infrastructure with Wormhole integration. This is a big deal and not getting enough attention. Wormhole does work with BlackRock and Apollo, among other big institutional players. This is allowing the XRPL, like we talked about the upgrade yesterday as well, allowing for it to be more enterprise ready. What this is going to do is allowing the XRPL, mainnet, and EVM sidechains to enable XRP on the XRPL assets to move seamlessly with 35 blockchains. 35 blockchains, unlocking the power of these new use cases, or the use cases of DeFi, tokenization, stablecoin, real world asset tokenization. You get it. A lot to be done now that they have this connected infrastructure. Now, let's get into what's coming and what we got here today. Crypto czar David Sachs, many of you are familiar, up there at the White House, right? Crypto czar. Thank you to the Senate Banking Committee, he writes, Chair Senator Tim Scott and Digital Asset Subcommittee Chair Senator Loomis for announcing a clear timeline and plan for comprehensive crypto market structure legislation. He gave us 3 dates here. 3 dates right around the corner. He checked number 1 being the bill to be introduced before August recess. Number 2, markup first week of September. And 3, done by the end of September. He writes, of course, President Trump supports clarity on the market structure as well as the Genius Act on stablecoins, and we need to get this done. And so we had that come out here today, along with the European Union saying they're ready to now make a deal with the United States, as well as Trump coming out and saying that he has officially signed a deal with China. Deals are being done, deals are being signed, deals are finally being solidified, finally clearing, right? We're finally clearing the roadway. We've got interoperability now with 35 blockchains with Wormhole. We've got dates on our radar for regulations. And we know we have a perfect setup here, guys. We know we have an absolute beautiful setup this second half of this year. Not even talking about the ETFs. We're not even talking about the other catalysts. We're talking about what we know is coming, that's going to bring a healthier market, that's going to allow XRP to see that next big move. When it comes to XRP and the price of XRP and what you and I care about, we are going higher this year, my friends. That's all I got for you for now. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section below. As always, I appreciate your support, and I'll see you all in the next one.